Government jobs have been under the microscope lately, with the Trump administration promising sharp cuts to the federal workforce. But many of us have little idea what some federal workers actually do. Hence, this report from our Robert Costa.
Good evening. The coal mining country of eastern Kentucky was still mourning the deaths of 15 miners in a methane gas explosion 3 days ago.
Rescuers tonight struggle to reach miners trapped by smoke and flames near Orangeville, Utah.
Coal mining has always been dangerous, one of the deadliest professions in the nation.
119 coal miners were killed in a mine explosion. The new monument dedicated to the men who died from that tragedy.
In the 20th century, more than 100,000 workers died in the U.S. mining industry. Christopher Mark experienced that risk firsthand.
I started the mines in 1976, it was almost 50 years ago, and I worked underground altogether for about 2 years. And I can tell you, I was almost killed a couple times.
So this is real for you, mine safety?
Absolutely.
Mine safety has been Mark's life's work. In his 20s, he left the coal fields to earn a Ph.D., then returned as an engineer for the federal government. His efforts have helped save countless lives underground.
It was still maybe a coal miner every week that was being killed in a rockfall. In 2016, we had our first year with zero, a really tremendous accomplishment.
At the end of the day, you work essentially for the worker, not for the corporations.
That's exactly right. And we were asked to do this by the public. It was the public's demand that was reflected in the laws that were passed by Congress. And that's all we've been doing ever since.
So for you, this isn't just about a government budget. This is life and death.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Of course, that's an issue that's...
We met Christopher Mark in the historic coal country of western Pennsylvania. He agreed to speak with us as a private citizen, not as a representative of his employer, the Department of Labor. His reason? He is deeply concerned about the Trump administration's sweeping criticism of federal workers.
I still have the most precious American right, which is the right to free speech, so long as I'm speaking in my own personal capacity. So that's what I'm doing today.
So you're not afraid?
I'd be foolish if I wasn't afraid.
I campaigned on the fact that I said government is corrupt. And it is very corrupt. It's very, it's also foolish.
Since taking office, President Trump has enlisted billionaire industrialist Elon Musk as a special government employee, and they have launched a crusade to winnow the ranks of federal workers, encouraging more than 2 million of them to consider quitting and moving to shutter entire agencies. Meanwhile, there are reports that hundreds of thousands of recently hired federal employees could soon be terminated.
You couldn't ask for a stronger mandate from the public. The public voted, we have a majority of the public voting for President Trump.
Elon Musk has got to go! Hey, hey!
Trump and Musk's campaign has sparked anger.
We are out here trying, but we need every American to care because this will impact every American.
It has also forced a reckoning over what Americans want from their government.
I think as we speak, our country is getting an education of what its government does because it feels it has to. Who knew what USAID was 3 weeks ago?
In an upcoming book, best-selling author Michael Lewis poses the question, who is government?
Virtually every existential risk we face, we don't turn to the private sector to respond to it. We turn to the government. I mean, the federal government's mission is to keep us safe. And you don't really know that insurance policy is not there until it isn't.
The book is based on a Washington Post series Lewis edited last year, with little-known stories of federal workers.
Just look at Christopher Mark's life work. If we just removed Christopher Mark from the history of the federal government, thousands of coal miners are dead. It's one person.
Profiling military cemetery managers and mission specialists for space exploration, Lewis and his co-authors make the case that claims of an impersonal, so-called deep state are off base, and that while there may be places for trims and updated systems, they argue the federal workforce is largely individuals dedicated to the public good.
It's people who have been attracted to a problem. The government is there to solve lots of problems, usually problems that the market doesn't want to solve.
Some people say government should run like a business. Are they right?
No, they're wrong. I don't see how you would run the government as a business, because the kind of problems the government is addressing, they're addressing it because you can't make money addressing it.
The modern federal government took shape almost a century ago in response to the Great Depression. FDR's New Deal, followed by World War II, expanded government's reach into most every aspect of life. And since then, many conservatives have been pushing back.
The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help."
In the 1980s, President Ronald Reagan helped lay the foundation for what Trump and Musk are doing today.
There is an ethos in Silicon Valley. Move fast, break things, disrupt. You've covered leaders in that sector for decades. Does that approach, though, work when it comes to the federal government and the stakes are different?
It doesn't work very well. If you take the kind of Elon Musk approach to the federal government, walking in, as he did at Twitter, and say, all you people are useless, we're going to get rid of half of you, operating with kind of fear and chaos, I don't think any big institution is going to respond well to the move fast and break things approach.
When asked for comment, a White House spokesman said the president is confident in Musk and his ability to shake things up, and said criticism of his method is fear-mongering.
When you walk in this restaurant, people don't necessarily say, there's a federal worker.
That's right.
They say, that's a coal miner, that's my friend, that's someone who works on mine safety. But they're not thinking about you necessarily as part of the federal government.
That's right.
That doesn't help the federal government.
Another thing is that the federal government doesn't have money to advertise itself.
That's right.
People can say whatever they want about us, and we, really can't respond.
For mine safety engineer Christopher Mark, there is little he can do to stave off the wave of changes from Washington. But he says he'll carry on, his head up, as long as he can.
If you could bring Elon Musk down to the mines, what would you say to him?
Well, I would say, there's a lot of people that have to work in these mines, and they deserve to be able to come home at the end of the shift to their family safely. And we're a part of making that happen. You can't take us out of the equation and be sure that they're going to return home safely to their families.